today's video, I finally get the Miya 56 set. I recorded this video a little while ago and have since been continuing to use this set, and I've been enjoying it a lot. This one only says Miya, so I'm not sure what the difference is, but in this case, here the full thing is. Because I already have the Miya 24 set, as you can see, and I also have an extra 18 set when I found it on sale, I'm only going to open the colors in this set that I don't already have opened and started from the 24 set. A smaller one in Chinese and a larger one in English. Some of the color names are odd, and even some of them are inaccurate. I've already pre-prepared all these stickers because I'd already looked up what the color names were online, so I could be ready to go when it comes in the mail. Every single little tub is getting the sticker put on the side so I don't get confused about what the colors are, because I'm going to rearrange the order to a much more pleasing one in my large wet palette. I already have prepared a tin that I purchased at Dollarama and a bunch of empty full pans. I didn't have quite enough full pans, so a couple colors actually get half pans. Although I've ordered more and they've come in the mail since. For each color, I'm mixing in a little bit of isopropyl alcohol from a spray and stirring them up. This is to stop the paint from having separated binder on top and to make them the correct consistency. The reason why I'm spraying isopropyl is to prevent molding. I've had issues with molding in the past with Miya paints. Therefore now I always spray them with isopropyl and mix in isopropyl as I go along. The isopropyl does not harm the paint, but it prevents the forming of mold. I'm just going to show a few random colors I'm doing here, and eventually you'll see me get them all in the order. Eventually I'm going to fill other custom mixes of gouache in this palette here, and I will rearrange the color order and do a final swatch page. I'm also going to redo all my swatches so that I have individual swatches to work with that go right to the edge so I can color compare directly. Now that I'm doing so many different colors, that would be very useful. Here you can see me working out a bit what I'm going to do with the color order and rearranging things so I have it the way I like it. As I continue organizing them, I'm going to open more. When I have any trouble opening the paint, I was holding it up to the warm light bulb of my filming lights, which loosened the glue so it was easier to open. So I do advise you hold it up to something warm like a light bulb, just for a few seconds, and then the top will come off easier. I also wear gloves because I'm going to get paint on my hands and I don't want to have to wash my hands a lot or leave paint on my hands. I'm putting everything in order. As you can see, I'm looking at the bottom of some of the colors to make sure they're the right ones to go in the order I want, and I'm putting them in. Once I run out of my backups in my 18 set, then I'm going to go to the ones here. Some colors are different between the 24 set and this set. There are a couple unique colors in the 24 set that are not present in this set, though all the colors in the 18 set are present in this set. Apparently there's 70 total colors in the line, though not everything is available currently in Canada. I'm hoping someday soon. In Canada I can get for a good price the 100 milliliter cups that I know exist, such as gray, white, the yellow teeth color despite the odd thing, a buff titanium, colors that would be really useful to have in large quantity. Sorry for any flashing lights during this animated sequence I made using photographs. I hope you enjoy it anyways. I didn't record the first little bit of the swatches. Oops! But I'm doing 2 copies of these basic swatches here. These aren't the final good versions I'll be doing once the entire tin is full and I've rearranged the colors to be in their final order for the tin. However, I'm doing 2 sets of these basic swatches, so I do have swatches available to use for now. The reason why I'm doing 2 is so I can put one up in the window for the entire summer in order to do proper light fast tests. I'm assuming certain things about light fastness, as in many colors will not be, especially things that have a neon hue to them. But I'm still going to use these things because I would very much like to enjoy using my paints. I feel like it's important to try to know the light fastness so that I know which art supplies to limit myself to if I'm selling an original commission. Otherwise, I should feel free to use art supplies of any light fastness that I just enjoy using. This painting here is going to be an illustration for the Great Tree book. I'm going to work it out on this wooden board. This wooden board is originally the back of a frame that literally fell apart, but this back board here just looks like something I should paint on. This is my first time trying the Miya Gouache, any kind of gouache like that, on this quite smooth wooden board, and I am noticing it definitely works differently. Each different surface you use things on will actually react differently, so it's a good idea to do lots of tests. I'm going to carefully layer as time goes on this because I'm finding things aren't quite opaque or vibrant enough in some cases with just one layer. I'm also noticing a little bit of beating up issues, and it's real easy to accidentally get down to the main color of the board. An advantage of painting on a colored or toned surface, however, is that it will unify all the colors of a piece as the underneath color shines through just a little bit through the layers of paint that you're putting down. I'm looking at different references I have off screen that I'd previously gathered of forests, jungles, and sunsets so that I can use the reference there to help me with the painting. I also gathered some cliff edges and scenes that I felt were similar. Although this scene itself is not copied at all directly from even one reference, and I use at least 20 different references to help, the original design was actually done digitally. I decided that this video was too long to include the design process, but I had already mocked up something in Procreate and kept that in mind while I was looking up reference and working on this picture. I also didn't record me doing the white colored pencil on the board. Well, I actually did record it, but it was too long to include in this video, so I didn't include it. I also felt the lines on the white colored pencil rough version are very hard to see, so it wasn't a very interesting video to look at as well. One of the things I made sure to do, due to the fact that the board was shiny and it was easy to accidentally rub up paint, was to make sure the paint was quite re-wetted well and to use very soft makeup brushes. Primarily, this entire painting was done with my softest makeup brushes in order to get the soft transitions and in order to lay down color in a way that was less likely to tear completely back up and show the board. Although this entire thing is a painting I intend to put in my Great Tree book, the 5e compatible book I'm working on, it was also done as an experimentation, not only with the new paints and paints I'd already mixed, but also in order for me to learn how to use gouache paint in general on smooth boards, and to decide if I like that, or if I feel like maybe I should sand the board first. That's another thing I can try with Masonite. I can try to sand the surface or scrub it with a harsh scrubby pad to create a little bit more texture. However, in general, I find I really do like working with gouache on smooth surfaces, because I actually find that easier. So there's more experimentation to be done to really determine how to properly use the surface. I keep trying to find better and better ways of using all the different papers and surfaces I have to determine what techniques work better to get advantage with the supplies I'm using, to use them to the best of their abilities, and to work with the way my brain works and I prefer to work. Once again, I can't emphasize enough how much you should continue doing tests on all the different surfaces you have. Some paints actually will even look a slightly different color on different papers. The way things flow, how smooth or harsh the surface is. Some supplies can even be worn down on really rough surfaces, so be aware of that. And that certain effects are only achievable on certain surfaces, or are much easier to achieve. Gouache is a paint I find that can make use of even cheap papers. I'm finding gouache to overall be my favorite medium, tied with digital art, because I'm finding it to be extremely enjoyable to do and more flexible in general. And I've also been mixing gouache and watercolor so that I've been doing things that can take advantage of both mediums to the best of their abilities. And as always, you can do mixed media and use other medias on top. In this case, this entire painting is entirely done just in gouache, as I planned that from the start, and I was really trying to test how to use gouache on a smooth board like this. This is turning the tragedy of the loss of my very nice picture frame into a board I can hang on the wall that has a direct painting right on it. I also still need to scan this and put it on the computer, which I probably should do today, so that I can use it for the Great Tree book. If I don't think the painting is good enough once I put it on the computer, I'll probably do some digital modifications to it to smooth out any of the roughed edges or to add a little more atmospheric perspective. But I'll have to decide that before I get to the actual book and putting everything together. Of course, at any time I feel like it, I can modify it digitally. Remember, you can mix digital and traditional. You can make watercolor splashes with intentional textures, and you can photograph or scan them and then use that as a base for digital art. You can also touch up your traditional paintings digitally once they're completed traditionally to correct any mistakes that were difficult to fix traditionally or impossible. You can also add effects onto a traditional painting digitally, which is something I'm considering doing with this painting. Overall, I'm very happy with it. You'll see later what it looks like when it's finished, but I still think I might do a couple digital touch-ups. I'll also have to see how it looks being scanned because the colors might be a little off. Sometimes scanners don't pick things up absolutely perfectly to the way my eye sees it in real life. I'm having to simplify this dragon here. This is a botanical dragon, a type of dragon that will be featured in the Great Tree book. I also have a very powerful individual character of a botanical dragon, and I wasn't entirely certain if this one was supposed to be depicting her, so I decided to do a general botanical dragon. It's meant to be a very large dragon, an ancient botanical dragon, so it's meant to be farther in the distance. I can't have too much detail, but I can't put too little either, so I'm really trying to balance it out. I'm also trying to keep the lighting consistent to the sunset timing of everything, so I'm looking at references of things in that type of lighting. I keep brightening up the sky because I'm finding the brown underneath that's peeking through is making the sky less vibrant and glowing, so I keep going over it at different stages to brighten different areas up. I think that's one of the things I might be correcting a bit more digitally. I had a little trouble with the rocks. In order to finally complete the rocks and get them better, I actually did a bunch of studies on toned paper, very smooth brown paper in 2 different sketchbooks, until I'd done some really good depictions of rocks and followed many different tutorials. Then, and only then, did I come back and try to correct these rocks. I'm really trying to make these rocks look less like they're tilting down into a crevice near us, and more like they're more realistic rocks, but that some of the cracks between them are deep, but not all of them, and I'm trying to get the bush in the foreground. I'm just trying to get the angles and the look of the rocks to be more correct. I feel like I corrected it decently here, and they certainly look a lot better than that first try where they just didn't really look good at all. There's more contrast, variation in tone, and different details in the foreground, and yet overall, because it's sunset and because of the feeling of the painting, I also didn't want too much detail in the foreground elements either. I just wanted the whole thing to be a sort of compositional theme. I'm trying to get the dragon to mirror the river. It's intentional because I want to show that the botanical dragon is a part of the great tree's forest, a part of the world, a part of the landscape. The person viewing is looking towards the great tree as well. This is just one depiction of one version of a great tree. I would love to see other people's depictions if they buy the book and actually use my content that will be available in this 5e book. Well, here's the final version of the painting. Once again, that's all for this video. If you like my videos, please remember to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell to all notifications so you will know when a new video comes up. I aim for new videos every Wednesday, but sometimes life happens and things are delayed. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you with another one very soon.